Hi there, and welcome to today's episode where we chat with Rosemary Cunningham about money and archetypes and energy and all sorts of wonderful, good, fuzzy things. Rosemary is a spiritual entrepreneur, business and money coach, and healer. She had a very interesting career that started as being a nurse, but she had some health issues and realized that really nursing is not the right career for her. And then she went into business and started a holistic healing practice. So she merges in a very interesting way understanding traditional health and well-being, having really thorough business education and understanding how the financial system works and how money works, and then having a holistic healing approach of bringing in spiritual practices. And she has coached hundreds of women and a few men as well to help them to find their own worth and create their own relationship with money to create a brand new world for themselves. This is a brilliant episode. I can't wait for you to hear it. So let's go.
But as normal, before we start our beautiful conversation, we just want to remind you about our newsletter. The links are below. We only send it out twice a month, and we get some news, some tips, stuff we've learned from our guests. It could be anything that inspires us to write. So we would love for you to join our newsletter or subscribe to our newsletter and share that out. Plus, please do subscribe, follow, share, like our episodes, and hit that notification button so that you get notified when our episodes go up. We are on Spotify as well as YouTube. These are our two main places where you can find us. But now let's get back to our really beautiful conversation that we had with Rosemary today.
Hi, Rosemary. How are you?
Hi Lenka, hi Natalie. Yes, I'm all good, thank you. I'm excited to be here and the sun's shining in. So hey, we're here.
That's wonderful. We'll take all the sunshine we can. So please tell us and our listeners a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do. Maybe give us a little bit of a hint into what today's conversation might end up being about.
Thank you. Well, I now call myself a spiritual entrepreneur because I've had my own business for over 30 years. I never particularly wanted my own business. I was a very happy nurse, but I had a challenge with my hands. I'm hypersensitive. I'm an empath. I'm also, what do we call ourselves, highly sensitive person. And I don't think I was suited to nursing. I think I was too sensitive. So my career finished very, very quickly, very abruptly. And I ended up doing a business degree. And it's just probably the only thing I felt I could do at the time. I met someone who actually suggested it to me, and we filled in our forms. But the way I met him, it turned out we were actually born in the same hospital 5 days apart, when our mums would have been in for 10 days. So my life has always had this beautiful synchronicity going on. You know, go back and you join the dots. There are lots of dots very easily joined. So yes, I did a business training, and then I did a massage course as a holiday, and I was absolutely hooked on the first morning. The peacefulness and the fact that when I put my hands on someone, I saw them and felt them transform in front of me in a beautiful way. And that was it. I started my career in complementary therapy, which has lasted 30 years. And the last 10 years, I've been gradually transitioning into supporting women to have our own business. I help women have a really positive mindset, attitude, self-beliefs around money. And I've just done a session with someone this morning, and the revelations we get when we look at ourselves, I use money archetypes. And you're not just one money archetype, we look at four, all the different parts of our personality, how we respond to money, how we think about it, how we might hold ourselves back. And the revelations and the movement forward for women, particularly after they've done this, is off the scale. I find it very exciting. And I run quite a large women's community called Winning Women. It's very much a heart-centered business community. I think we've been here to rewrite business, and we've been doing it for about 20 years, but there's a lot more coming. I think so many people now, apparently 1 in 3 adults in the UK and 1 in 2 youngsters would love their own business now. So anyone who works with entrepreneurs, it's a great time to be supporting people, and the possibilities are just endless. And I know both you lovely women are also spiritual entrepreneurs, aren't you?
Yes, I think we are. And it's interesting because obviously I'm thinking way back when we've met. We've known each other for quite a while. I joined a couple of your online community events. You've nourished such a wonderful community. And we also had for a while a really lovely Spirit of Book Club. And our listeners will know that myself and Natalie are massive bookworms and we love books. And one of the books that really resonated with me and the discussions around that was The Psychology of Money. And we're bringing in the topic of money here as well. So I'd love to know a little bit more about the money archetypes you mentioned. What are they? How can we work with them? What can they tell us about ourselves, our possible past struggles with money, and how we can be better, be it finances personally, be it in relationships, be it in business. Unfortunately, we live in a world where money is essential and it's everywhere. Even though I'm trying to live the world as far away from money as possible, but we cannot. We have to earn money, and there's nothing bad about wanting to have money. So I would love to learn a little bit more about money archetypes because I don't think it's something we have heard before.
Excellent. Well, it's out there in the public domain now. If anyone wants to, you can just go and look for money archetypes, and there's a free assessment quiz out there. Anyone can do it. But I'm a go deep kind of person. So it's not on my website. I love someone to come in and actually explore with me. And there are 8 of them. And you answer quite a lot of questions. It's about 120 questions to actually come to your archetypes. And there's a little bit of everyone in each of us. So for instance, my lady today, she had a nurturer archetype and she had an accumulator. So nurturer is fairly self-explanatory. It's very dominant archetype for me. That's my nurse, that's my healer, that's the person who, even in the groups, I like people to feel safe. I think I've spent a lot of my life, I'm going to say this lifetime almost, feeling quite unsafe in my own body. And I like people to come to my groups, to my courses, and I can do this, I can relax, I can be me. And so that's my nurturer. But equally, the nurturer, there's a shadow side within each archetype. So there's this wonderful helping everyone feel safe, but then there's the overgiving, there's the protecting people, rescuing people to the point where you can disempower them and undo what you've been trying to help. So within each archetype, there's the shadow side. And the shadow side is almost like your little 4 or 5-year-old, your little child, the one who's trying to, in a nurturer, probably, in my case, probably trying to balance things out. I'm worried about daddy, I'm worried about money. I'm hearing conversations that really weren't designed for young ears. And being a bit of an old soul, I was probably thinking, what can I do to keep the balance here, make it right? These things that children do. And then there's the adult. There's the adult Rosemary, who runs the business, who knows who she is, who's on a good day is really courageous. And it's about, you can really use your archetypes if anyone is watching. I'll just show you the card. There's a lot of information on them, and that you can read them and get a deep self-understanding. So even when I put them in front of my clients, often they'll read them and they'll go, oh my goodness, yes, that's me. And they'll see themselves reflected back. And they get this deep self-recognition. And I've also had people look at them and go, no, that's not me. And then they look at them again and they go, actually, that is me. Ooh, that really is me. So it's a tool for getting deep self-understanding, and the possibilities of what we can do with that are huge. Ask me a question, Lenka. I've been talking long enough.
It's never too long for us on our podcast, but I understand the conversation dynamic, it's lovely. I like that, you're explaining a little bit about the archetype, but there's so much more that we can do about that, but also what we've learned here at the podcast, what we believe in. It's sometimes we take these things as labels and we use them as excuses, and there's a little bit of a challenge with any kind of grouping or figuring out, oh, I'm this archetype, or I'm this type of personality, or I have ADHD, or I have this, to put this as a label and then hide behind it. So how do you work with people then to help them use it as a tool, use it to deeper understand themselves, to use it as a starting point to better whatever they want to achieve, to improve progress, but also how to stop ourselves from then using it as an excuse of like, well, I'm this archetype, so I tend to overspend. I'm this archetype, so I tend to not be good with money. We have so many limiting beliefs, and sometimes these labels can really help us hold us back because they're even more reinforcing this self-belief that we have.
I think just knowing that and the self-recognition can be incredibly powerful in itself. I mean, my lady today, she had her third archetype was an alchemist, and there are some questions on the cards. And one of them are for an alchemist. And alchemists typically have a love-hate relationship with money. One of my clients who was an alchemist, she'd sat in the back of a car as a very small child with her sister, and they'd listened to their parents arguing about money. And then their parents had got divorced. So she'd got this thing that money breaks people up, and just that understanding and reflecting that on her own life was absolutely huge. And she realized, looking at her own life, why she'd done certain things. Like that particular lady, she'd had a lot of debt. She'd moved house and she'd left the debt behind. She literally detached herself from it. And for that, when we get self-understanding, we can also get self-forgiveness. And there's so much blame and shame and guilt around money. It's absolutely off the scale. And so when you can look at them, oh, that's why it's been so hard. That's why I did that. Then you can give yourself a big hug, talk to your little 4-year-old and really forgive yourself. And that is a point of moving forward. So you're absolutely right, there is a self-responsibility here. And I know that the downside of my nurturer is that I will get into people pleasing. I know it so well. I say to my friend, you'll hear me every now and again say, oh, my people pleaser had a party last week. No, my nurturer had a party last week, because I sensed that's what I was doing. But because I know it, I can stop it, look at why I'm doing it, maybe, and then switch it, find a better way of serving people. But interestingly, my lady this morning, who was an alchemist, I asked her a question, because there are 3 questions on the back of each card, which are called Creating Sacred Money Alignment. And just to say, it's an amazing woman called Kendall Summerhawk who's developed these cards. And they are an absolute work of spirit and bigger picture. I asked my lady, if money was sacred to you, how would you treat and value it? Because when you can say, oh, I hate money, which is what a lot of alchemists will, that's reflecting a lot of negativity on money, isn't it? And she, oh my goodness, that's interesting. I said, do you feel like you could have a little journal around that? She said, yes, I really will. That's really interesting, because she's a very spiritual woman, and she was really curious. And this was a starting point for her to go away and understand herself much better. And money's a reflection, isn't it? Or the phrase Kendall always said was, how we do money is how we do everything. So if you're on the cards, it might talk about you or money. It could also be time. If you give a lot of money away, you might be giving a lot of time away. You might be giving a lot of energy away. You might be giving a lot of intention to people who you feel obliged to. And these can really help you look at how you're just like what you're giving away. And you can have energy leaks, you can have money leaks in your life where it just disappears, but equally energy can be the same way. So many analogies here. And sometimes people look at them superficially. One of my clients on one of my early courses, a lady who's just come back into my world after 12 years, she did this in 2013 with me. And she said she kept her cards in an envelope. And every time there was a challenge in her business, she'd get them out and she'd look at them. And there was a question we'd asked her. She had a ruler archetype, and I asked her a question from here, which was, is there a dream you've kept a secret, maybe in fear you'll look arrogant or be judged as being too big for your britches, or you won't be able to accomplish it? And when I asked her that in this class, she went, ooh. And there was. She had a big, big, big dream that she kept a secret because she knew her dad would put her down about it, because that was the family habit. And she was able to get that dream out. She told the class about it. And she was able to kind of put it front and center in her life. So there's a lot to them, a lot to them. The self-recognition is huge, but I don't know, I guess it's up to us whether we make something a label or whether we make it our guide, don't we?
One of the things is, especially around money, is the scarcity. There's not enough money. There's not enough money in the world, or there's not enough money in my account, or there's not enough jobs to create enough money. You know, we can find ways to find that there's not enough. And I mean, it's with food, it's with the environment, you name it, there's that element of scarcity. But yet when you break it down and really look at it, there is enough. But it's having that, shifting that mindset from, oh, but there's not enough. You know, there's never enough money for the month. I mean, I know this is a big saying that I've heard so many people say, it's not enough money in the month, or there's not enough month for the money. And there's this element of scarcity. And one of the things that I'm starting to notice with you know, business owners and just people is connecting sort of more the spiritual side to money and connecting energy with money. I'm starting to realize that money is energy. So if we help money to flow, then it can flow back to us, and it's not having that stagnation. And I think that also that comes from that element of scarcity. Oh, I've got to hang on to it because then there's not enough of it. But I have noticed there's been a slight shift with that, with this, but money is energy, and how can I help the energy to keep that money moving? And not in the sense I'm going to go buy a new coat to keep it moving, but just having that different idea of money. Is this something that you're starting to notice with your clients, especially that you work a lot around the money elements?
Definitely, and also for myself as well. I think we often teach what we're most here to learn, and I've created enormous amounts of money drama, and often it happens because I've got something to learn to take to another level. But what I've realised now is it used to be, money used to be based on stuff, didn't it? You know, it was all connected to gold. That apparently the British government sold all our gold years ago, so that's not true anymore. And now we're living on air, aren't we? We make money on the internet, which has no physical grounding at all, really, does it? So everything has changed so much, from everything being resource based, resource backed. It just isn't the case anymore. And there's an amazing British guy called Gary Stevenson. He has a channel called Gary's Economics. He's very young. He was the youngest trader at Citibank, and he's now an equality campaigner. And he basically thinks the super rich should be taxed about 2% because that would just change everything. There's a lot of politics to it, but he says he made millions betting on the economy collapsing. Well, that's not based on fact, is it? You know, the whole stock market is just so esoteric. And I think everything is now. And when you work with this, there's a romantic archetype, which is just wonderful. And romantics believe there will always be more money. It's just part of their core. It's like you cut them apart and it says always more money in the middle. They've got abundance stamped through them. But it also depends what the other two parts of them are, of course. But romantics keep the economy going. And so absolutely, yes, Natalie, it is so based on energy now. And I think I was saying to you before, looking out my window, I've surrounded myself by spring flowers. And I work with an incredible woman, Dee Wallace. She's the actor who played the mother in the film E.T. Extraterrestrial back in the day. She's been one of my mentors for a long time, and she always talks about your love place. So do this with me, people. Your love place is going to somewhere that takes you to a place of unconditional love and makes you light up. So for me, I've decided at the moment it's the birdsong. Spring birds just make me smile. So go to wherever yours is. And she said about a week ago, she said, go to your love place and then think about money. So go into that beautiful place of unconditional love within you and then think about money. And think about money in that energy of unconditional love. And then just invite it in. And she just said, do that for 2 weeks and things will change, right? And so I decided this week I'm going to connect it. I've got so many spring flowers. I went out for a walk on Sunday and there were just a couple of daffodils and you could see they were just going to explode. Monday there were thousands of them and today there are millions. So I've decided at the moment, every time I hear birdsong and every time I see spring flowers, that will be my love place. And I would just visualize my bank account filling up and my credit card going down. And yeah, why not? And that, honestly, the possibilities that have come in this week, the invites and the come to dinner and the come on this podcast from someone else and someone else has got a business opportunity. And I know that my energy, my sap is rising like the spring. So I am just going to be in massive attraction mode. But I did decide that. I decided, along with Dee Wallace, that every time I hear birdsong, and then I added the spring flowers, I was going to visualize money with love. Because we don't. I've caught myself so many times recently going down there. She describes it as, she said, you can either choose to go down the toilet. I'm going to go right down there. Or you can laugh and you can say, Rosemary, you're going to go down the toilet again. Do you really want to do that? No, you don't. Let's go to birdsong, spring flowers instead. And I've been very successful this last couple of weeks, really trying to retrain my brain to go to a beautiful place about wealth and money and all the incredible things that we can do with it, can't we? I mean, for me, it's about sharing. I want to really get tithing large sums of money again. Like for me, money's a seat at the table. It's power, it's expansion, it's happy people, it's smiles, it's food. Yeah, it's joyfulness. Does that resonate?
Absolutely. I'm there. After this podcast, this is, for me, this is an aha moment. This is the gold nugget from this session. After we finish the podcast, I'm going out for a walk, and this will be my practice to find my happy place, my happy money trigger, that whenever I see it or feel it or am there, that's gonna bring my money energy higher. So thank you for that. It resonated really, really, really strongly with me, what you just said. And I could feel it even coming from you. And as you were talking about energy, it really, the whole conversation, money is energy, keeps coming back to me. Because I work in marketing, and lots of the time marketing has a little bit, especially social media marketing, has a little bit of a negative perspective for people who want to start out, because there's lots of, oh, I'm not going to pay you, you're going to get exposure. There's the whole, I'm going to pay you with exposure kind of a mentality, with lots of people trying to, get some free stuff. But for a while, obviously, if you start trying to start a business, then you need some money. But at some point also, money is one way of getting something from our work, from our efforts. There's so much more For some people, volunteering with no money exchange, doing barter deals with exchanging service for service or time for time, or getting, for some people, really getting the learning from that. I think asking someone to do something for free, it's not ethical. But if you truly know within yourself what you're getting other than money, what energy is there for you, then doing something for free, for cheap, for barter, pro bono, whatever you want to call it, if you do it willingly and intentionally with, again, the abundance mindset of knowing this is helping me move forward, I am abundant in the energy, in the good stuff I'm receiving. And I think there's a little bit of a mind shift that, again, needed to happen in my journey between being pushed to work for free or cheap in the world of marketing, then to be in a place of abundance and having clients and charging my worth and being happy with whatever money I'm getting, learning not to get sucked into the 10x and 20k months and 100k months because that's not necessarily what I want, these kind of goals. Then be like, I have enough of the money that I need to survive in the world that is ruled by money. So some of the other energy I'm receiving is non-monetary, but it's still helping me. So I'm wondering how you see this kind of a relation between money and energy, and yes, we cannot fill our bank accounts with good vibes and happy thoughts and exposure, but also again energy.
Well, once again, I think we're coming to a very new era with money. I think we're creating something very new, and it's up for all possibilities at the moment. There's definitely a new world coming, and I was told recently by someone that the energy of money in 2025 is very much around fun and joy on a spiritual level. So the more we can attune ourselves to that, then we're here to play with it. And just to say, you'll love this, Lenka. When I work with people in a longer program, we do a visualization where you literally step in and you become money. So if one wants to do this, you visualize money out in front of you in whatever form it is for you. It's totally yours. And then you step in and you become it. And we ask questions of you as money. So I'd ask you questions as money, Len. As money, what's important to you? And you're in that space where you can just pick up the energy. Money gives the most amazing transformational answers. I completely changed people's lives. One of my friends, she came, who was on the same course I mentioned before, back in 2013. And from that, money just wanted to help her. It wanted to come and flow and have fun and be joyful and feed us all. And it wanted to see us laughing. And she just took that and ran with it. And she never had money challenges again. The switch was just night and day for her. And sometimes I think when you can take someone into that place of, I do the same with people, with our clients, where I'm doing an ideal client course at the moment. And I taught my women to actually step in and become the person they want to attract. And then we ask them questions as that person. And then it's like your ideal client or money has told you what it really thinks. And then you can actually go and do something with that. So did that answer your question, Lenka? That's what came to me.
There's no right or wrong answer. There's no expectation to get any answer in particular. Yes, it answered my question.
Perfect.
It was a very interesting idea, interesting concept, interesting activity. My brain went immediately to the comics of Scrooge McDuck jumping into his pile of gold coins, swimming, and just like really feeling like the liquidness of the gold around you, like it's cold and it's like that would be my vision. I don't know why, but if I'm thinking of money, this is what I'm thinking. It's like I'm jumping in the pool of coins and I'm swimming and it's cold, it's the liquid. There's something about the water-like element to it somehow. So yeah, it was very interesting. Thank you. Appreciate it.
there's something else coming as well. I think with the new world energy, there's often been, as we know with business, it's everything's kind of been taken off, creamed off to go to certain wealthy people, the owners. And with some of the new, particularly network marketing companies, this comes to mind because I've been involved with a couple of them. It really is about taking everything and sharing it with as many people as possible. And that's very much new world energy, where it's for just that, for sharing. And one of the business models it's compared to is sort of the Amazon Prime model, where everyone pays $10 a month, but it all goes off to Amazon. And this is taking those $10 and sharing them out amongst a lot of people. And I'm seeing this a lot at the moment. There's lots of new opportunities coming up, often created by people who don't even need to make money, but they're here for the common good. They want to create a product that really helps people, but at the same time, a business model that benefits as many people as possible. And this is a lot of it is about residual income. Not having to toil and stress on an hourly basis and really work harder. And that's the other thing, of course, we've been told we have to work hard for money for millennia. You really have to put in your hours. And if you're not working hard enough, then you're not worthy. You're not worthy to receive money. You're definitely not worthy to have a holiday. You're just not worthy. You're worthy. You're not worthy, which is not enough, isn't it? So much imprinting. And now we're rising out of this. We're becoming really aware of it. We don't like it anymore. And we know that the people who have the most money aren't necessarily the ones who work hardest. And one common element amongst wealthy people seems to be, or people who have a lot of money coming to them continually, is they have a joyful expectation of more money coming in all the time. And that's what the Sea Flowers here Birdsong, Money Falls, is a joyful expectation. And just keeping up that expansiveness. I've got a beautiful picture of a tree up in front of me, covered in blossom. It's just like, ah, I'm here. And that is the place where your heart's open, your energy field is open. And this is one of the things that comes in the money meditation. When your energy field's open and your heart's open, you're in flow, you attract flow, other people attracted to you. And this is where my ideal client course comes in. I help my women absolutely find their essence and their joy and know who they're here to serve and make the maximum contribution with it. And often that means doing less for their client, not more. We take a lot away because they're the people who really want to work with us and invest at the highest. Often they don't want everything we do. They just want that little special bit that has the biggest transformation. And really tuning into the energy of what we're here to do, who we're here to serve. And that's when we can be in our attractor energy. And I always say that with winning women. I had an incredible mentor when I started my women's groups, Alison Marlowe, and she had such a powerful vision of women around the world linking up in communities, and it was called Global Winning Women. And the global bit, which all popped in beautifully for me when I started my Essex groups, was we had a sister group in Zambia. And every time someone paid me, say £15, a pound went to our women's group in Zambia. And and it kind of changed over time. We've done different things. We ended up in lockdown, there wasn't much coming in, so that wasn't practical, but we did auctions and the women's group disbanded. So we ended up supporting the school instead, which is even more children. The school got bigger and bigger and bigger. And the idea is that the school becomes financially independent. So it's no longer attached to a charity and it doesn't have to government rules, which aren't always popular. But it was, that vision and the expansiveness. I've lost my thread slightly there, but never mind.
Well, something that, as you were speaking, it's sort of came back to mind is, as you said, for millennia, we've been told work hard for money. The harder you work, the more money you'll have. But I think, as you said, things are shifting and things are changing, is people don't necessarily want to work for money, but want to work for themselves or for to have more time with their families. So it's not working for money, like money is our employer. and we just work for them. It's actually I want to earn money to enable me to do X, Y, and Z. So I'll use Lenka as an example. She earns money so she can go with her van in beautiful places around Europe, wherever the urge takes her. And I know at the moment she's exploring beautiful Spain, but she's not working for money, but she's working for her van experience or thing. And I think that's a shift. It's not about the money, but it's about what can the money create for me or give me or help me with X, Y, and Z. And I've noticed that there's this shift. It's not about money. I'm building my business so that I can spend more time with my family, or take my kids to school, or spend more time with my partner, or travel more, or whatever it is that people want. And it's the minute you work for money, there's that tie, there's almost this prison. But when I'm working for more time, or for myself, or for, and not necessarily for yourself as in a business, but I'm doing this to earn money to enable me to do this. And there's that slight shift. It's not always about the money. I know that there's still a lot of people who do work for money month, and is there enough month in the money, or enough money in the month? But I've also seen the shift. It's money is a tool in a way, or a source to help me to get whatever it is that I'm wanting. And a lot of people are not necessarily for the big car, the bigger house, but it's more the freedom, the choices, the choice to convert a van, or the choice to spend 6 months in a tropical country and then 6 months somewhere else. It's giving the choices, the choice to pick up your kids from school and spend the afternoon with your kids, the choice to work less hours, the choices. And I think when we look at money as to help us with our choices, then it takes that almost that tie down, that negative connotation around money. But when we work for money, it's I just when I say that, I have a visualization of a sort of a dollar bill or a note, with like a whip in their hand, and work harder, work faster, come on, come on, come on. There's not even a human behind it. It's just this cartoon money note that comes to mind when I say that. And it's like, it's not nice. But when you are using money and working for your time, for your freedom, for your choices, it for me, it gets rid of that cartoon money note with little head and little hands and a whip. And it's more about, what do I want to create in my life? What purpose can I do with my life? Because it's about me. It's all about us. It's about me. It's about Lenka. Lenka is for Lenka. Rosemary is for Rosemary, and that's how it's meant to be. It's finding a way to really have the best life you can, or have more life in one's life. I mean, this is what we're all about, and money can help with that. Money is a tool that we can use. It's the energy we can use. It's a source, or however people want to look at it. But it's not a tie. It's not a ball and chain, which we've made it a ball and chain through the years, through what we've been taught. And as you said, it all comes down to work harder for more money. Well, I know people who work really hard and they are skint all the time. So that's not really true, is it? I mean, it's really their mindset. But like you said, there are people who don't work hard and do have a lot of money. And so it's not about what we've been taught over the last 1,000 years. And what, even we taught from our families, from school, from education, from anything. It's about creating something different. I think this is what's so important. And you said there is a shift, and you can see the shift. I mean, people don't want to be tied to a desk for 8 hours a day.
Yeah, we want choices.
Yes, I think choices are so important.
Yeah. And I think sometimes I've caught myself recently. I think your soul takes you to a place where you have to learn some different lessons or repeat the ones that you haven't quite got. And often for me, it's the ones I've been helping other people with most successfully, but I really need to embody them for myself. And just to say that on a different level, I live in this place. I was lucky enough to be gifted where I'm living. And I met someone who's a specialist in feng shui not long ago. He's been practicing it for years and years and years, does a lot of work in South Africa, actually. And he looked at my birth chart and he said, "You're amazing at money for other people, but it's not like that for you, is it?" And I went, "Oh my goodness." And that was from looking at my birth chart. And for me, it was, "Oh my goodness, it's not my fault." Yeah, because often, and then he looked at my home and he said the way my home was constructed, it was almost impossible for me with that birth chart to actually make money in this property. And I've been here for 10 years, which is another reason why I'm moving on. And I've moved some furniture around and different things. And it's a lot better. I've really shifted the energy. And it was almost as if there was a plug hole in the corner of this property where money just came in and went out again. So there are other aspects to this. If it's really challenging for someone and you've got the ability, have a look at a book. I mean, one of the things for me was one of my American friends, Beverly Beale. She does a monthly recording, and I think it was November. Things pop up on your phone, don't they? Because you need to watch them. And she said, in your office, if there's something in the west that looks like a tree, move it. It's blocking the energy. Well, I'll just show you. I had 2 of these in the west of my office. And I straight away thought, "Oh my goodness, that's me." 10 o'clock at night, came in here, moved the furniture around, got up the next day. Oh, wow, the difference in energy and possibility. And it hasn't been instant. That was in November. And today is the 27th of February. But my brain cleared. I couldn't think straight in this place. I was in this constant fog and numbness. It could take me 3 weeks to do anything creative, and then I couldn't do it in my working space. So there's a lot more to this as well. As you quite rightly said, Natalie, the energy of everything. If one thing isn't working, it's worth asking others. I always say to people, come to Winning Women, my group. There's nearly 3,000 women in there now. Say, I don't think my house is working for me. Just put a question in and see who answers it. Because the hive mind in that group is so powerful, isn't it, Lenka? There's always someone who will come up with an answer or a suggestion. And that's what we're good at, isn't it? We heart-centered women particularly, we love sharing. I love giving women the opportunity to share our wisdom. There's nothing more satisfying than helping someone, is there, if you're helping someone see a different way. Yes. Wrote something down there. Oh, yes, and the other thing is to have a look at the 80-20 rule. Are you both familiar with that? I'm sure you are, aren't you? And that's popped up a lot for me recently. I went in my loft one day and lying on the floor was a paper open at the 80-20 rule. And from a conference I'd been to about millionaires. And I had the book sitting on the side for ages. And I thought, all right, I've got it. I'll read it. And so I've started looking at my life in terms of my 80-20. So I'll get up in the day and I think, what are those 20% tasks which will make 80% difference to what I want? The book's amazing if anyone's wondering about it. And the idea of the 80-20 is 80% of your results come from 20% of what you do. You can apply it to any part of your life. So I now consciously look at where my 20% tasks are to make the 80% of fun, the 80% of money, the 80% of enjoyment. Just that. And we have to make choices around everything, can't we? But I know when I've got down and I felt, particularly when my house wasn't working for me, I didn't feel as though I had any choices. And the other thing that made a huge difference recently was Miranda Hart's book about her overcoming her chronic fatigue. That book helped me make a huge decision, because I realised I had more choices than I thought I had.
Choices are powerful. And recently I listened to a podcast, and listeners will know my go-to favorite podcast is Huberman Lab from Andrew Huberman about health and well-being. And one of the guests he had there was talking about health, but from a perspective of a choice, of how huge of an impact, again, our belief, our acknowledgement of the fact that we do have choices, and we need to have choices on how we're going to live our life, how we're going to live our business, how we're going to approach our health, how much the simple concept of I have a choice. I can choose to eat the chocolate or eat the carrot, or sit and watch a TV, or go for a walk, or spend the money here, spend the money there. Whatever it is, we always have a choice. The choices may be limited, and we might not always like all the choices presenting to ourselves, or we might not be thinking about all the choices out there, but the concept of that, simply acknowledging the fact that we have a choice and being at ease, and kind of being acknowledging the fact that I am making this choice. I'm not being forced. I'm not just getting into it just because. It's not because someone else has told me, not because I have to. I'm making a choice to exercise, to be healthy, to spend more time working, to make money, to invest into myself, to develop myself, whatever it is. But the power of choice, it's so beautiful to learn more about the neuroscience behind it, the science behind it, the reassurance of the simple thing of choosing can have a huge impact on the results we're going to get.
Interesting. Yes. And I think making decisions can be like working a muscle. I remember I had a very wise client many years ago. He had a very successful businessman. And I was telling him one day about something going on. He said, just make a choice. He said, doesn't matter if it's wrong, you can change it later, but make a choice. And I think particularly women historically have sometimes been told we don't have a choice. Yeah, we just have to conform, don't we? And I know it's not true now, and it hasn't been true for everyone, but the imprinting is huge. Very recent, I've got one friend, and it's lying across 3 generations of her family right now, the grandparents and her daughter as well. So the imprinting is just so strong. And anyone who doesn't know about women, it was only in the 1970s, particularly here in the UK, where a woman could actually borrow money herself. I was told a story recently. I think it was 1963, and there was a lady who was a GP, a doctor, and she did her rounds to see her patients in the afternoon in her car, and her car broke down. And she needed a new car, and she needed a man to guarantee the loan for a new car. And that was her 22-year-old son who just left university. He had to guarantee his mum's loan because he was a man. And that only changed in the mid to late 1970s, when a woman could start to borrow money to get a mortgage, all those good things. And there's a lady in my group who, in her first job, she used to manage the women's pay scale and the men's pay scale in the same jobs. And that would have been probably the mid 1970s. And I was born in 1963. So there's so much changed in our lifetimes. And I think as women, sometimes we think, well, why hasn't this changed so fast? What's the matter with me when I can't do this? Well, first, we haven't been taught. And secondly, it's just been so recent. And I think that's where sometimes the kindness to self comes in. We've mastered a lot in a very, very, very short space of time generationally. So even if your mum was really worked and was really savvy around money, maybe your grandma wasn't. And of course, with the imprinting, our little child's brain's like a dry sponge. So everything we're seeing and hearing when we're young, we absorb, and it becomes part. I don't think we ever forget it. It's there in our brain. So that's our subconscious, which is making those decisions. And that's what these money archetypes are very revealing about as well.
We've spoken about so much, and I mean, as you said, it's the imprinting of money. But one of the things that you mentioned earlier is, you mentioned feng shui and just shifting the energies in a room. And a lot of these they're not new. They've been around for thousands of years, but it's something that we're coming back to. And it's, I've often spoken about this on previous episodes. So Lenka knows it's we're starting to embrace what we once knew that we've been taught to forget, or it's just been shunned. I mean, if you mention feng shui about 10, 15, 20 years ago, it's, oh, that's woo-woo, that's has no value, it's not important. But yet it has a huge amount of value. And I think we're really starting to embrace the whole stuff that has been known for thousands of years, the body's energy, chakras, feng shui. These are all Eastern philosophies from China, from India, and from loads of other countries that I can't think of right now on top of my head. And it's like, oh, wow, I've just found this new thing. Well, actually, it's not new. Is we're starting to embrace them because we're realizing that there's so much more to the world than a 9-to-5 job, or there's so much more than just these little things. There's so much more to us than just an arm or just the pain in one spot is what's causing that. And I love how you brought that up and spoke about your experience of something that looks like a tree, and it's got me thinking, oh my word, where's West? And but it's about relearning what humans used to know to help them to balance. I mean, often you go back in history and kings or people or generals wouldn't make a decision until they'd seen the alignment of the stars and seen how things work to know whether it's worth going into battle or conquering this or doing something. And it's fascinating how, when we have guests like yourself who they bring up something that's been before, and it's like, oh yes, there's something else that we can really incorporate. And offices are so important, homes are so important, especially if you work from home. You spend a lot of time, and as you said, you want to be creative, you want to design something or have an idea or earn money, whatever it is, and you spend time in this. Why not move a bit of furniture around if that's going to help? Whether it's woo-woo or not is irrelevant. It's if it helps. Yes, look at your house. I mean, by all means, look at your house and see, is that helping you make money, or is it helping the money just straight through your bank account and through wherever and out the other end, and it's gone? So thank you so much for sharing that, because I think well, I love learning. Lenka loves learning, and something for our listeners, they might not have heard of feng shui or even realizing more about how money can be such a beautiful energy. Money is not just the big bad evil out there. It has a beautiful energy to it, which I think we need to embrace again. And you've shared that with us, the different archetypes and the different ways that people can earn money. So I really appreciate you sharing that with us today.
Yeah, and the energy of judgment, if I'm judging money, it's not going to want to come to me. It's a bit like going into a room as a single woman and seeing these men and going, oh God, look at that lot. That's not going to attract anyone, is it? And it's the same with money. If you judge it, it cannot come to you. There's an energy mismatch that's doing this. And the other thing I'd love to mention is comes up a lot with women is what's called the witch wound, and particularly amongst heart-centered women. And this was very powerful for me when I first heard about it. So in the UK particularly, I live in a county where apparently the witch hunter general lived, and it's everywhere. Even in Kent, there's a ducking stool on the river going through Kent, where they would have put women accused of being witches. And we grew up with all these stories. There's a place up here from the road from me called the Witches Pond, and round the corner is somewhere called Moon Corner, which allegedly is where women were, something was done to them because they were witches. It's everywhere. And witches were often business women. They were, well, the people who were called witches and tried as witches and accused of being, were the ones who were successful in business. They were the ones who were running their own business because they were seen as a threat. And so we've grown up with all these stories, and it's on the collective consciousness. And for me, the way it resonated was, as a woman, when I'd put something out there, I'd have the audacity to say I was going to charge £500 for an offer instead of £50, or even put my prices up. There's something in you that makes you almost shrink back, or you're there and then it starts to feel unsafe. Or I remember one of my clients, funny enough, who still comes to me. I only treat 3 people now for energy treatments. I used to treat 25 a week. I now treat about 3 people a month. And this lady, I put my fees up, and I think I was going on holiday, and she said, well, we're obviously paying you too much money, aren't we? And for me as a sensitive, that really felt like judgment. So when we have the audacity to say we're worth something, this kind of almost shrinkage, it's as if we suddenly feel really, really unsafe, and it can be totally immobilizing. It can send us into flight, freeze, fawn, all those good things. And people give up. And I've experienced this many times, and I share it a lot, because when we become aware of these things, then we can do something about it. And another thing that's spoken about recently is the sister wound, which is where women often don't support each other, they're combative with each other. And the same lady who talked about being the two different pay scales, she said her dad used to actively tell her something about her sister and tell her sister something about to kind of divide and rule in the household. It was a way of causing trouble and controlling people. So there's a lot of history here, and women have not been great at being nice to other women. And when I started with Winning Women, one of the reasons I was attracted to it was Alison had such a vision about women collaborating, not seeing each other as competition, and generally just being nice to each other, and allowing. When I used to go to traditional networking, I remember when I first did, and it was a women's network, and I was almost a full-time therapist at the time. And I was also starting business coaching, and I was only allowed to talk about business coaching. I wasn't allowed to talk about the therapy work, because there was someone else who was there to represent that. And I just felt as though I'd been cut down the middle of me, and I'd been put back wrongly. And the analogy that came up for that afterwards, I was actually teaching aromatherapy in Tokyo, and I used to get the metro. And I don't know if they still do it, but they'd have people pushing you into the carriages to really squash as many people into the carriages as possible. And I was standing, but my feet were about, 40 centimetres to the left of my body. So I was completely out of alignment between the stations. And that was such a powerful image in my body. That's what it made me feel like when I was at a networking meeting, and I wasn't allowed to be all of me. I was only allowed to be a bit of me. And yes, that's what traditional business networking has been like. So with my networking, the model I was given, which I've continued, is you come as you. We're interested in you as a woman first, and tell us about you, and then tell us about your business. And that's where the community aspect has come from. And I think we all need communities. And one of my roles now is to help other people start their own communities, because I think we're absolutely desperate as humans for communities of like-minded people where we're going to be accepted, can be ourselves, and to flourish. And I see the faces of people when they come into my groups, and I'll go up to them and I'll say hello, and maybe I'll give them a hug if it feels okay to, and they just kind of melt and go, oh, I feel all right now, I'm here. It's that feeling of safety to be yourself. It's absolutely huge, isn't it, in life and business?
Yeah, you just took me down memory lane to these networkings where you're only allowed to talk about one thing and don't talk about anything else. And nobody is just one thing. And so many business owners who were networking had a lot of different things, but you just stuck on the one thing. And as you said, it's not necessarily competition because everybody does things differently. I've networked with other confidence coaches and they do things differently to the way I do it. And you resonate with the person. You don't normally go with the program that they do, but you go with the person that feels right for you. And I think so. You just reminded me of that. So thank you. But yeah, community is so important. And recreating it. I mean, lockdown and 2020 and 2021 was such a disconnect from fellow humans, physically, emotionally, and just everything. And I think now we're starting to build up the communities again and having those connections, but also expecting the right connections, whereas before it was very much you just put up with whatever was there, but now it's like, actually I've got a choice to choose the right connections that I want, to choose the right communities that I want to be part of. So thank you for sharing those experiences and what you've learned. Hop on to our Patreon account to get this episode's amazing and wonderful gold nugget. Now, if people want to connect with you, they want to be in your circle, they want to find out more, how can people find you?
Well, my website is rosemarycunningham.co.uk, and you can find me on LinkedIn. I'm quite active on there. So that would be the best place to start. I've just got a new website coming, and there will be links on there to the Winning Women Facebook group, which is a lovely community for heart-centered women. Anyone's welcome to come join that. And that's set up so you can learn, you can meet your tribe and grow your tribe of like-minded other spiritual heart-centered entrepreneurs, but also you have a couple of days a week when you can promote your business as well. But you don't have to have a business to be there. So yes, rosemarycunningham.co.uk, LinkedIn, or my Facebook or my Facebook group, Winning Women International. Please come and say hello.
I can only highly recommend the group. I've been in the group. I've been to the online networking events before, met some of the lovely ladies in there. It's a fantastic community. So we will make sure that all the links mentioned will be in the description below so people can easily find you and find a community and learn more about, the wonderful things that you do and how you help women with just energy and money and everything. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
But as Natalie said, we here in the podcast, we always like a little bit more, a little extra. And I have one final question for you. So what it is that gives you more life in your life?
For me, is what I said. It's the seeking the quiet time now. I've learned recently that I'm a projector in human design. And we projectors, we thrive on working only about 4 or 5 hours a day. So I try and go outdoors at least twice a day. I literally have flowers on my balcony all year round. I take time to go and be with the trees and talk to the trees more and more every week. Because I think we are all connected. We're all connected around the planet. We now know about the mycelium network, don't we, that goes between the trees. And I've got water at the end of the road. Sometimes I'll stand on the beach and I'll connect myself with the water that goes right around the planet. And for me, it's that connection with nature that gives me the inner peace, that allows me to be peaceful for other people. And when I'm peaceful, people want some of my peace, so they'll come and hang out with me, or they'll come and join the group. I think everyone needs, well, everyone in my world seems to need more peace anyway. And it's available for us, but it is the connection with the water and the nature that really helps us. Oh, and also turning that phone off. Oh my goodness. I'm so happy when I turn my phone off. I don't mind this quite so much, but I'll smudge it. But oh my goodness, I need so much more time now without my phone on, and I can get so addicted to it. So yeah, definitely the phones. Learning to monitor that. I've just taken YouTube off my phone because it was a sinkhole. It's like they're energy portals, I think, on your phone. And being very careful where I put my intention, my time, my attention now, and that will be continuing. I don't want to be completely out of step with what's going on the planet, but I don't want to buy into it. My energy won't cope with it. I don't function properly when I'm particularly as a sensitive. I can absorb and go down a complete sinkhole, and that's not going to happen anymore. That's not what I'm here to do.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing what gives you more life in your life. And thank you for today and for this conversation and sharing your knowledge, sharing your experience, and sharing your energy with us, because it is about energy. So thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, energy, and your stories that you shared.
Thank you, and yours as well. Thank you so much for the pleasure and the honor of being here. I really appreciate being invited. Thank you.
And for our listeners, what have you got from today? What aha moments have just gone poof in your head? You know, Lenka's aha moment. And what resonated with you? Was it when we were talking money archetypes? Have you heard of money archetypes? Is this something that you are interested in? Or what beliefs do you have around money, or just around energy? Or how do you see money in your life? We would love to know, for you to share your stories with us, for you to share your experiences with us. And if you have done the money archetypes, you know, what experiences and what have you learned from it? Share with us, like and follow. And until next time, we'll talk to you soon. Bye. Here is your reminder about our Patreon, where you get all our really beautiful gold nuggets. And today we had a fantastic gold nugget to share. Subscribe to Patreon. The link is in the description below. Hop into the gold nugget section to access all our wonderful gold nuggets. There is also a free section where you can access snippets from past episodes, as well as some great content with tips, advice, and beautiful and wonderful wisdom. Come and join up and be part of the Into Your Life community. We would love to see you there.